Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel ForexPnL. Today is Friday, the 10th of June 2022. It's time for me to do my weekend Forex forecast for the upcoming week. As usual, we're going to be taking a look at DXY and a few currency pairs. All right, but before I get started, taking a look at the charts, let's take a look and see what we have on the economical calendar already scheduled for next week. So right now I'm looking into Forex Factory, and as usual, all times are Eastern time. As you can see here on Sunday, okay, June 12th, it's a bank holiday in Australia, all right? So that's just something to keep in mind. On Monday, we don't have any economical news in the agenda, at least for now, and I'm talking about high impact news, okay? And then on Tuesday, we do have, the PPI data coming from the US axis. And that's about the only high impact news we have on the calendar for Tuesday. But then if you take a look on Wednesday, Thursday as well, that's just a bunch of high impact news, okay? We have the retail sales coming from the, the United States axis. We have FOMC statements, federal funds rates, okay, interest rates with an anticipation of an increase with 50 basis points, FOMC conference that follows thereafter at 2:30 p.m. And then, later in the day, we have employment and unemployment data coming from the Australian axis as well, okay? And, well, these are all high impact news that can easily, okay, move these markets, okay? Especially with the fact that, we're expecting, an increase in the interest rates, okay? Now, on Thursday, we have the interest rates data coming from the from Switzerland, okay, SMB policy rates, and then we have the press conference that follows thereafter. And then on the same Thursday, on 7 o'clock in the morning, we have the interest rates data as well coming from the British axis, okay, with an anticipation of an increase with 25 basis points. Now, you can see we have a loaded agenda, okay, later in the week, next week. So earlier, we don't have anything on the agenda for Sunday, Monday, and just one news on Tuesday. But then, as we go deeper into the week, you see how, we have a lot of news in the agenda. So that's pretty much it from the calendar. Now we're going to go back into the charts and see what we have in store. Now, as usual, I'm going to be kicking things off with DXY. All right, right now we're taking a look at the weekly time frame. Guys, just take a look at this week's candle. All right, very massive bullish move. Earlier, actually, I had anticipated that this week is going to be quite bearish. All right, with my expectation being that the markets, maybe we can open and get a dip into this particular demand zone that we have on the weekly time frame. But as you can see, the markets just opened. We formed the low of the week, and then from there, boom, the markets just took off to the upside, and now we are almost at the previous swing high areas. Okay, so this week, obviously, very full body bullish candle. All right, so the bulls came into this week and they flexed their muscles, and as you can see, this is what we are having right now. In my own opinion, it's still very possible that from here the markets can give us maybe a quick move to the upside earlier next week, just to retest this previous swing high area, maybe right around, let's say 104.75, 105.100, anywhere from right around there. The markets can still easily collapse to the downside and start pushing to the downside. Okay, it's still very possible that we can still get that bearish rotation to give us that push into this particular weekly demand zone. All right, so this is very, very possible. Okay, this is the kind of move that I personally would prefer to see. Again, anything can happen, remember that. Okay, the markets can easily open next week, take off this high, and just continue to shoot to the upside. All right, that is why you just have to be quite elastic. Okay, be willing to adjust to whatever the market is presenting you with. Okay, so that's pretty much what I can see right here from the weekly time frame. Now if I go into the daily time frame, well, just like not much. Okay, you can see the markets pretty much just started off slowly, and you can see by the time I did my midweek forex forecast, I told you guys, hey, we're having two pin bars here. Okay, this rejection from this particular supply area, and then from there you can see the next day the markets just give us a very quick push to the upside and follow through again today. All right, so well, like I said, the bulls are in these markets, make no mistakes. But again, remember, we are approaching slowly but surely this previous swing high area. Now, going into the 4 hours time frame, that's where things become a little interesting. You get to see the price action a little clearer. In my own opinion, you can see we've had hesitations around this area, and then the markets just gave us a very nice momentum push to the upside This is obviously a demand zone area, but then we got a little hesitation again, and bang, the markets continue to the upside. In my own opinion, we have now created this particular demand zone in here. So this is one that I'm going to be keeping an eye on, right around that, let's say 103.25 area. If the market is to give me a push to the downside, let's say the market's just open, and let's say we get a push to the downside. If this happens and price gets towards, let's say 103.25 area, anywhere from right around here, guys, if we get any shifts in the smaller time frame, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go long for further continuations to the upside, okay, towards that previous swing high area that we just saw on the daily charts and weekly charts. All right, so that's pretty much what I can see in DXY as we go into next week. All right, now next up is going to be US dollar Swiss francs. Now US dollar Swiss francs, quite similar to the DXY in terms of movements. If you take a look at the weekly time frame, well, again, I was expecting for price to give me that push to the downside to dip into this demand zone, but well, the market's turned around, and right now we are pushing towards that previous swing high area. All right, my anticipation in this particular currency pair is that maybe next week the markets might open, maybe we might get a push to the downside, and then from there we might get another push to the upside, okay, towards this previous swing high. Okay, I won't be surprised if we get a retest of parity. Okay, I personally would want to see the markets do that in this particular currency pair towards parity, and then if we do get that move towards parity, from there I would expect the bears to maybe come into these markets and flex their muscles a little bit. Okay, that's kind of the price action that I'll prefer to see from the weekly time frame. All right, now zooming into the daily, not much. If you guys remember from the midweek forex forecast, I told you guys that this pair is pushing strongly to the upside. Okay, we had taken off this particular supply zone area. Okay, and I told you guys, well, personally, what I would love to see in this currency pair is for a possible retest of this particular selling origin. All right, and well, I'm still keeping to that. You can see right around there we have parity as well. So what I would love to see in this currency pair, maybe a push to the downside into this particular demand zone area, and then from there maybe an attack of parity, okay, into this particular selling origin that we have in this area. And then from here, guys, I would love to see this market give me another bearish rotation to the downside. Okay, and hopefully that will be the move that will take price into this particular weekly demand zone area. All right, so that's pretty much what I can see right now in US dollar Swiss francs. And now if we go into the 4 hours time frame, well, the picture becomes clearer. Obviously a little hesitation, and then boom, the markets take off to the upside, creating this demand zone in the process. Okay, so right now my course of action is very, very simple. Let's say the markets might open, maybe take off these highs, and then if we do get that pullback, okay, into this particular demand zone area, anywhere from right around here, maybe 0.9800, 0.9775 area, in this particular neighborhood, if the market gives me a shift in the smaller time frame, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go long for further continuations to the upside. Okay, for a possible retest of the parity level that we identified. Okay, all right, so that's pretty much it for US dollar Swiss francs. Now next up is going to be Euro US dollar. Now Euro US dollar is obviously doing, it's almost like a negative correlation with DXY, and as you can see here, well, this pair just continues to shoot to the downside, falling shy of this particular weekly supply zone. Okay, the bears are not even letting us get into those supply zone areas, and they just continue pushing the markets to the downside. All right, so well, that being said, though, if you pay attention here, okay, we do have, now that I'm looking at this, we do have this particular pin bar area that makes it look like a drop-based drop. All right, and you can see the price actually tapped into that particular one, but well, I was not tracking that particular pin bar, and I still keep this particular supply zone that I have here. Okay, in my own opinion, this is the major supply zone area. Yes, price might be reacting off of this particular pin bar right now, but in my own opinion, the main supply zone area is still sitting up here. All right, right around this area, maybe 110. Anywhere from right around here, I would love to see maybe the bears come back into this market to continue to push this market to the downside. But that being said, even though it might look bearish, it might look bullish, all right, from the longer time frames, if we zoom into the smaller time frames, right now you will notice that well, markets are trading pretty closely to the swing low areas, okay? And that's not just for this particular chart. This is the monthly time frame, okay? We again slowly but surely approaching those lows that we have right around 1.0350. So, well, the question is, are we going to make it all the way to 1.0350 and break that level, or is the market going to turn around from that particular area, right? Who knows? Only time will tell. But then from what I can see right here, personally, I would love to see price maybe give us another push to the downside, maybe for a possible push towards, let's say, 1.0400, all right, 1.0450 area, 1.0400 towards the swing low areas. Anywhere from there, maybe I will expect the boost to also come back into these markets, okay? If at all, these markets will be going up anytime soon, okay? Now, if you go into the daily time frame, not much to keep an eye on here, to be completely honest with you. Yes, we do have this buying origin in this area, but in my own opinion, it's not the strongest, okay? I had identified this particular demand zone area, but you can see the market's just smashing through that particular demand zone area, okay? Now, if we go into the 4 hours time frame, this is where I have a supply zone area. My preferred course of action will be, let's say the markets open next week. You can see we have demand zone in here, all right, that led to the break of this level of structure. So this demand zone in here, maybe the markets might first of all dip into that demand zone area before we start getting the reversal, okay, towards this particular supply zone area, all right. If that happens, price, let's say, give us that push towards, let's say, 1.0625 area into this particular supply zone area, anywhere from right around there. If I get any shifts, all right, in market structure in the smaller time frame, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go short for further continuations to the downside. This is probably what will take us towards that, like, let's say, that 1.0400 level that I'm going to be shooting for, and waiting to see how the market behaves before I make a decision as to whether to continue searching for short opportunities or to start searching for reversal trades that will probably now give us that push to the upside. All right, so let's see how it goes. Again, as usual, let's let the markets develop. All right, a lot of high impact news on the agenda for next week, so in my own opinion, let's wait and see how those are going to affect the markets, okay? But for right now, this is kind of the price action that I am seeing. All right, so let's see how that goes. Now, that's pretty much it for euro US dollar as we go into next week. Keep an eye out for the midweek forex forecast that I'll be releasing on Wednesday, 1 a.m. Eastern time. All right, okay, that's it for euro dollar. Next up is going to be Australian dollar US dollar. Now, Australian dollar US dollar gave us a bearish push this week, okay? We did get that push to the upside, and then from here the markets just continue to turn around to the downside. Now, it's not the best of setups, to be completely honest with you. I obviously was keeping an eye on this particular supply zone area, this one that we have right here, okay? But you can see the markets obviously did not get to that particular level, and well, from here we have now turned around. I did not like this particular supply zone because markets gave us a very deep push into this particular supply zone area, even took off this level here with this wick right here. All right, so in my own opinion, right now I didn't like this particular supply zone, and I wanted price to dip into this particular supply zone from where I will be very interested in searching for short opportunities. But well, that didn't happen, and right now it's as if we are now switching, okay, to the downside, and well, it's time to start searching for some short opportunities in this particular currency pair. Now, if we go into the 4 hours time frame, the picture becomes a little clearer. You can see that this market was previously swinging, giving us higher highs and higher lows, which is indicative of an uptrend, and then finally the market stopped out at this particular level here, right around 0.7280, and then the markets gave us a push to the upside. This candle here is interest rate decisions, okay, and you can see that the markets just gave us that quick push to the upside into this particular selling origin, and you can see the rejection from that particular level, okay, and then a second attack, but we did not even make a new high above this interest rate spike, and from there you can see how the market has just been collapsing. Obviously we have this level of significance on our charts, and finally the market gave us a break of that particular level, and then on Friday today the markets gave us a pullback into that particular area, okay, and you can see that from there the market has now flushed to the downside. Obviously this level is significant, but also we do have this particular supply zone area. It's a little big, but again it is still a supply zone, okay? So we have this supply zone area in the 4 hours time frame, and right now what I would love to see is for price to give me that push into this particular supply zone area anywhere from right around here. If we get that shift to in market structure in the smaller time frame, I'm going to be looking for an opportunity to go short for further continuations to the downside in Australian dollar, US dollar, right? So let's see how that goes. That's pretty much what I can see right now in Australian dollar, US dollar. Now, next up is going to be US dollar, Canadian dollar. Now, this one played out almost to perfection, all right? The only thing that didn't happen in this particular currency pair is the fact that we didn't get the pullback towards 12500, but nonetheless, this was a very, very valid level. I told you guys there's a significant and bullish confluence in this particular currency pair off of these particular levels. But well, let me not get ahead of myself. Let's take a look and see what we have on the weekly time frame. And as you can see, price gave us that push to the downside into this particular buying origin, and you can see right now we do have an outside bar, okay, an engulfing candle, outside bar formation, and well, the bulls are obviously in this market, but personally I would love to see this market give me a pullback now, okay, maybe towards this particular demand zone area that we have in the smaller time frame, or even deeper into this particular level that was broken for further continuations to the upside. Okay, so again, only time will tell. We have to wait for the markets to show us its hands before we get in. Now, from the daily time frame, not much. The fact that the markets just give us that push to the downside deep into this particular buying origin, okay, this demand zone area, and from there you can see that the buyers have come into this market again, and they are now pushing this market again to the upside. So now if we go into the 4 hours time frame, we do have this particular level here. You can see this previous level of support area now working as some resistance, and well, I have mapped out that area as well, and I'll be keeping a very close eye on that particular level. Now, in the event that, let's say, the market opens and gives us, let's say, a push to the downside into this particular level, anywhere from right around here, if we get a shift in market structure, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go long for further continuations to the upside. Now, another level that I'm keeping an eye on is in the hourly time frame. Obviously, you can see that we have this demand zone in here that led to the break of this level of structure. All right, more like a rally base rally, okay, something like that. Okay, and from here now, what I would love to see is for the markets to open, give us that push to the downside into this particular demand zone area right around that 12700 institutional price level. Anywhere from right around here, if I get a shift in the smaller time frame, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go long for further continuations to the upside. Okay, so in the event that this level does not hold, this our one demand zone does not hold, let's say the markets just give us a push to the downside and just enough pullback for further continuations, then I'll be keeping an eye on this particular level that I identified from the 4 hours time frame for a possible shift and continuation to the upside. Okay, so let's see how this goes. As usual, I'm going to be giving you guys an update in the midweek forex forecast. Now, that's it for US dollar, Canadian dollar. Next up is going to be New Zealand dollar, US dollar, and as you can see here in the weekly time frame, not much, quite similar to what we have on other US dollar crosses. You can see we have that bearish wick, full body candle, and well, the bears in these markets at this particular moment. As you can see here, we are slowly but surely making our way to the downside. So not much from the daily time frame. Let's take a look and see what we have in the 4 hours time frame. Now, in the 4 hours time frame, you can see that this one is actually looking very clear. All right, and I actually missed this trade. If I had seen this earlier, I would have taken this trade today, but it's okay. You can see the picture is quite clear in this case. We have a clear level of would I say support on this particular charts, and then the markets gave us a break of that particular level to the downside. Okay, break of structure, creating this particular supply zone. Price pulls back into it, and from there you can see that's where the market started dropping from. All right, and in this process as well, the market has also created another supply zone in here. Okay, right around here, this is another supply zone in this particular currency pair. So well, the markets can easily give us that push to the upside from here, all right, into the supply zone, from where the markets can start dropping again. Okay, the question is, which one is going to happen first? Is the market going to open and start pushing to the upside? And then if that's the case, then this supply zone can easily act as an area of supply, and from there the markets might give us a push to the downside into these particular levels. Okay, or will the markets first of all open, and then let's say from here give us that push to the downside first of all right, and then from, one second guys, All right, let's say the market gives us that push to the downside into this particular demand zone area. You can see this demand zone that led to the break of this level of structure. All right, so we can get that push to the downside first, and then from here the markets can easily give us a push to the upside into this particular supply zone area, from where I'll be looking for reversals in the smaller time frame, shifts in the smallest time frame for further continuations to the downside. Okay, so who knows, only time will tell. But as usual, guys, in my own opinion, you just have to wait, always wait for a confirmation. The fact that I have labeled this level is not a reason for you to just try to bracket it and just take a buy trade just from this particular area. It might work one time, two times, three times, but I can guarantee you that with a large sample size, it's most likely not going to come out in your favor. Okay, so always know that markets can easily open and pierce through this particular level and just continue shooting to the downside. Okay, or it can pierce this particular supply level and continue shooting to the upside. Okay, market is king at the end of the day, and you have to respect the king, right? Okay, so that's pretty much it for New Zealand dollar, US dollar. So as usual, let's wait and see how the market is going to open, but in my own opinion, these are the levels that I'm going to be keeping an eye on in this particular currency pair as we go into next week. Now that's it for New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Next up is going to be British pounds and US dollar. Now British pounds, US dollar, you can see from the weekly time frame, this pair continues to wax strongly to the downside. I'm still keeping this particular supply zone area that I have in here in the weekly time frame, and price can easily again give us that maybe a push to the downside, and then from here we can start reversing to the upside into this particular weekly supply zone area. Anything is possible, but this is what I would love to see in this particular currency pair personally. Now if we go into the daily time frame, you'll notice that the markets, we had this supply zone area. I didn't like this supply zone because you can see that we started trading above it in this area. I really didn't like this particular supply zone. So from here you can see the markets gave us that quick push to the downside. You went into some form of sideways consolidation, and today the fundamental release that we had, the CPI, gave us that quick push to the downside. Okay, massive push to the downside, and right now, actually, I was expecting this particular demand zone area to hold. You can see this particular demand zone, but you can see that from here, the markets did not respect it, no reversals whatsoever. We just continued, shooting to the downside, and right now we have taken off this particular level right here to the downside. So the bears in these particular markets make no mistakes. Okay, so the question right now is, what's the next course of action? Well, personally, what I would love to see in this particular pair right now is, let's say the markets give us a push to the downside, to the upside, and then from here towards this particular level we have a supply zone in here that led to the break of this particular level of structure. So price can easily give us that dip in here towards 124.75 levels. Anywhere from right around here, shifts in the market structure in the smaller time frame, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go short for further continuation to the downside. So from here, I wanted to point out a few things. Okay, this is a buying origin, and also we have a very solid demand zone in here that led to the break of this level of structure and the break of this double top that we have here in momentum to the upside. So in my opinion, this level is very, very significant. So this is an area where, let's say, if the market is to dip in here at any point, maybe after retesting the supply zone or upon market open, 122.50 levels, 122.100 areas. Okay, in my opinion, this area right here, expect a bounce to the upside that might be quite significant, because you can see this is a demand zone that is yet to be tested. So in my opinion, this area might end up being significant enough to cause at least a significant retrace in this particular currency, or even possibly a very significant push to the upside. Okay, so who knows, let's see how that goes. But I just wanted to point this out. We do have this particular trend line liquidity that has now been grabbed, and we are making our ways for sure towards this particular buying origin area that we have in this particular neighborhood, from where I will expect the bulls to come into this market and start pushing things again to the upside. All right, so let's see how that goes. Okay, this is just what I would love to see. Next up is going to be US dollar Japanese yen. Now for US dollar Japanese yen, what do we have here? Well, the bulls just continue doing their thing. You can see right now we do have a new new demand zone in here, all right, as a result of the break of this particular level of structure. And if we go into the daily time frame, I do have obviously a very solid demand zone here on the daily time frame, okay, that led to the break of this level of structure that we have here. So personally, I would love to see some retracements, okay, in this particular area. You can see right now we do have a new bullish demand zone in here, all right, as a result of the break of this particular level of structure. And we let's say a very significant retracement into this particular daily demand zone, from where I will expect the bulls to start coming back into this market for further continuations to the upside. All right, now as you can see, I do have my alarms sitting just above 130.100, which in my opinion is the area that that demand came into the markets, and from there right now we are trading almost 450 pips above that particular level. All right, so let's see how that goes. Now if we go into the 4 hours time frame, I do have this particular demand zone area that led to the break of this level of structure. So in my opinion, it's very, very possible, let's say the markets give us a push to the downside. All right, and then from here we might get a bullish bounce that might not take off these previous swing highs that we have here, and then from there the bears can come into these markets and start pushing things again to the downside, okay, towards this particular daily demand zone area. So like I said, let's see how it goes. In my opinion, this is kind of the price action that I will prefer to see as we go into next week. All right, now that's it for US dollar Japanese yen. Now the next is going to be GJ, and this is going to be the last of the majors. Okay, I'm not going to waste your time in here. If you take a look, you can see that the weekly time frame price gave us a retest of this previous swing high area that we have on the weekly. So that's something to take note of. Right, so from here you can see it's looking like a double top formation, and today the bears came into this market in momentum and just continue to push these markets to the downside. If we go into, let's say, the 4 hours time frame, you'll notice that I did have this particular demand zone area that I mapped out in here. All right, I have this particular demand zone here, and now you can see right now the markets are clearly breaking that particular demand zone. All right, so in my own opinion, this is the first sign of weakness in this particular currency pair, and what I would like to see right now is for the the bulls to come into these markets. All right, maybe a little reaction from the hourly time frame to the downside, very, very possible. And but what I can tell right now is the fact that it's looking as if the bears are in this market, with this particular level being a very significant supply zone, okay, that was formed as a result of the break of this level of structure right here. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm keeping an eye on. First of all, maybe a possible bounce off of this H1 supply zone to make probably even a new low, and then the markets recover, but then we have this our 4 supply zone in here, from where I believe even this particular sellout is going to start from. All right, so let's see how that goes, but I just wanted to call this out. Now that's it for GJ. Now I have one cross pair that is giving me a very nice structural level to keep an eye on, just like GJ, and that is AJ. Okay, so if you take a look at AJ again for the weekly, you can see that this particular week is closing a pin bar, so it's looking as if the bears are in this market. We did get that quick push to the upside, okay, that even took off this previous swing high, but notice how the bears came into these markets, and from those highs you can see how we have this particular bearish pin bar setup, okay, as we go into next week. So it is not going to be so surprising for me, let's say, if the market opens, give us a push to the upside to create the high of the week, from where we might have a very significant massive push to the downside. All right, so who knows, only time will tell, guys. Okay, now if we take a look at the daily, not much from the daily. All I can say right now is looking as if we have a demand zone in here. All right, and you can see how the bulls are protecting that particular level. The bears came in today, dipped into that particular area, and you can see that we are getting a little rejection. Okay, so the question is, are the bulls willing to protect this particular level? Well, if that's the case, then chances are we might get another push to the upside, even possibly towards 96.50 again. All right, but in the event that that doesn't happen, if we go into, let's say, the 4 hours time frame, we do have this particular demand zone area, okay, from the daily charts. So from here, price can easily give us that push to the downside, and we can start seeing that shift in the smaller time frame for further continuations to the upside. Okay, so that's pretty much it for AJ from the what time frame is this? This is the 4 hours time frame. Now next up, let's say hourly time frame. Okay, if you take a look at the hourly time frame, you'll notice that well, we can easily drop this particular line in here. Okay, it's almost to perfection. All right, and that being a significant level on this particular chart, you can see how the bulls came into the markets from that particular level, and bang, we had very significant sell-off. Right, so in my own opinion, this particular level right here is a very solid supply zone, because it led to the break of this level of structure as well. So what I would love to see here is for the bulls to come into this market, maybe after a push to the downside. All right, but all in all, I would like to see the bulls come into this market, okay, deep into this particular supply zone area. If we get a shift to the downside, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go short for further continuations to the downside. Okay, now in the event that price begins to clearly let's say break above this our one supply zone area, in this particular case you can easily wait for price to give you that push to the upside, clearly breaking this particular supply zone area, and then from here maybe upon pullbacks you'll be waiting for demand zones that form in the smaller time frame to be retested. And if we get any bounce and shifts in market structure in the smaller time frames, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go long for further continuations to the upside. Okay, but again, personally, that would be for a possible retest of this particular demand origins that we supply zone origins that we have here. Okay, I wouldn't really want to shoot past this previous swing high area based on what I'm seeing in other yen crosses. All right, so guys, that's pretty much it for this particular week's weekend forex forecast. As usual, I hope you gained some value from this particular video, and if you did, guys, please do not forget to click on that like button, subscribe to my channel, and click on that notification bell so that you will always get updates whenever I post a video. Now, cheers and have a profitable trading week ahead. Bye bye.